I encountered the Jordan Center through a friend of mine who had a fellowship in New York City a couple years before I did. I knew that I wanted to live in New York, but I wasn't sure how to make that happen as a scholar. And I reached out to her because I knew she'd done this program, and she had really positive things to say about it. I think the density of interesting people who study and care about Russia in New York City is unmatched anywhere in North America and perhaps in the world. The number of events that I've been able to attend and people I've been able to meet has really exceeded my expectations. One thing that I really like about the Jordan Center in particular is that its offerings are so diverse and democratic and also of consistently high quality. I attended a talk that's focused on environmental history in Chernobyl. I've been to stuff about rock and roll. I attended a symposium on Gulag literature. And it's often, not everyone is necessarily a scholar affiliated with the university, which I think is also really important. So you get this really interesting polyphonic conversation where there are people who are studying something from an academic perspective, but then you might have also a political activist from Russia or Ukraine who's really involved in events on the ground, or perhaps a filmmaker who can speak to their creative process and experiences in Eastern Europe. So it's this really unique combination of being both immersed in the culture and society and taking a step back and having a more academic, analytical discourse about it. So when I was in college, I was a double major in history and Slavic studies, and I wrote a senior thesis that was about the late Soviet era that was based on letters to the editor of a Soviet newspaper, which I found at the Library of Congress in the US. When I graduated from college, I was very lucky to receive a Fulbright to continue my research for my thesis. So I moved to Moscow, started going to archives, meeting historians, and I really liked and was intrigued by that world. At the same time, I started working as a freelancer for the Moscow Times, which has helped support a lot of journalists and scholars when they first move to Russia and have a lot of ideas and curiosity and want to write. It proved to be a really fertile ground for me in that regard. So all of a sudden, I could go to an art exhibition or a ballet or music performance and be able to talk to the people who created it and have a forum to write about it. And I really got addicted to that whole ecosystem. And I think as a foreigner who speaks Russian and is genuinely